Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we would look at coincident economic indicators. In the prior session, we looked at leading indicators, and we compare leading indicator to the weather radar. Basically, it will tell us what might happen in the future, signals about future events. And I also use the comparison of driving on the highway. You don't look only at the car in front of you. You look at the traffic, maybe 10-15 miles down the road. If there's an accident, if there's some construction on the road, you may want to take precaution or change direction. I'm going to use a third analogy today, and I'm going to compare leading indicator of using a GPS. So when you use a GPS, it will map out the road. It will map out the road, what's on the road in front of you. But also, if you use a GPS, you want to know your current location, where you are right now. You want to know your current location. So think of the coincident economic indicators about what's happening in the economy right now. They help business, analysts, and government, as well as investors, determine what the economy is doing right now. So before you can chart your trip through a GPS, you want to know what's your current location. So unlike the leading indicator, which point toward possible future changes, coincident indicator move at approximately the same time as the overall economy. So what's happening right now? They provide a current reading of production, employment, income, sales, and economic output at this moment. So the central idea is you are measuring present economic condition. I'm going to go back to the weather illustration to illustrate the difference between the leading indicator and the coincident indicators. Think about the weather forecast. When you're watching the weather forecast, they're telling you rain might be on Friday. It's arriving tomorrow. That's a leading indicator. On Friday, when you're looking outside and observing it's currently raining, that's coincident indicator. You see the rain. If you step outside, you're going to be wet. So the forecasts predict what might happen. The observation confirms what's happening now. Now, from an economic perspective, we are going to have 5 major coincident economic indicators. Now, keep in mind, those are the main ones, but those are not necessarily the only ones. Each industry will have its own indicators, whether it's leading, coincident, or lagging. But for our purposes, we will be looking at 5. And those will be the industrial production. And we're looking here at the macroeconomic level, but you can use the logic or the analysis or the rationale of these indicators and apply them to any industry. One is industrial production, employment, personal income excluding transfer payment, business and trade sales, and real economic output. Now, you have to understand, and you will see later, that those indicators, they work together, they grease each other. I'm going to show you how. But if you know anything about Farhat, once I have a list of items, I am going to go over each item separately, explaining what the indicator is, give an example, and see how they all interact with each other. At the end, I will go back and revisit this slide specifically to show you how they all connect. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com.
My AI turns any lecture into a complete study system. You can create summary table, formulas, and example from each lecture. Flashcard builds from the lesson itself. A quiz build on the lesson. And as a bonus, convert any lecture into a portable short audio on the go. So it helps you with the retention. No noise, no generic responses, just clarity based on that specific lecture. Don't just watch, interact, test yourself, and retain the material using Farhat AI. Now go to farhatlectures.com now and see how the AI can help you understand, practice, and retain the material.
We will start with the industrial production. What's the industrial production? Manufacturing are booming. They are producing output. So measures the current output in core industrial sector, manufacturing, mining, and utilities. What's happening here? We have electricity consumption, we have output, We have factory operating hours, maybe 24/7. Simply put, factory is running, and factory would not run if they don't have the demand. So no company would run their factories and produce goods if they don't have a demand for it. So industrial production increases when factory, mines, and utilities are currently operating at a higher level. So an increase in this industrial production strongly suggests present economic activity. Now, how do we measure this in the real world? In the US, we do have a local, not local, basically, actually a geographical. For example, we would know about what's happening in Chicago, in New York area in terms of industrial production. We have those reports. So if those reports are up, it means we have current economic activity, and a decrease suggests current demand is weakening, because if consumers are not buying refrigerators, microwaves, whatever we are producing, manufacturers will not produce it. So first thing is industrial production. So a sustained increase in factory output indicate that manufacturers are currently producing more goods. Now, that's fine. That's really good if we have manufacturing activity. But guess what we need to run those manufacturing activities? We need people. So if we have industrial production, we should have good employment right now. So employment usually rises during economic expansion. And when do we have economic expansion? When we have higher industrial production. And it generally moves in lockstep with current economic activity. So what we have to do, employment scale with output. As we produce more, generally speaking, we need more people to handle the production. So if manufacturers are receiving orders, they need to increase production. And in order to increase production, they need to hire, you guessed it, people. And what happened to employment? Employment increase. Unemployment goes down because we need people to run the machine. We need people to check the quality control. We need warehouse workers. We need maintenance staff. And what happened when people work? They have income. And what happened when they have income? They pay taxes. They take income to their homes. They spend. They benefit their local business. So higher employment directly support 4 pillars of the economy: consumer spending, tax collection, business sales, and household income. So a broad increase in payroll employment indicate that the economy is currently expanding. And yes, we do measure payroll, what's happening to payroll at the nation level on a weekly as well as monthly basis. So we go from payroll, guess to where we go to personal income, because when we have payroll, we have wages, salaries, business income, investment income. All this increases. So the third level, or the third of the third variable, is personal income, excluding transfer payment. When we look at personal income, we don't include social security benefits. We don't include unemployment benefit. We don't include certain government assistance payment like welfare payment. We don't include any economic stimulus payment, because those are not true income. Those are transfer from the government to the public. So the income is wages, salaries. Here we focus strictly on income earned from productive activity. Government transfers are payment that are explicitly excluded because they don't arise directly from the current production. For example, during COVID, people did receive some income, but it was not personal income. It was not active income. We were not producing. The government was paying for that. So that's not the income. But if we have high employment rate, we're going to have high personal income, and that high personal income will generate economic activity. So an increase in earned personal income proves that households currently have more purchasing power, directly generated through active employment and business operations. So notice, it started with that industrial production that needs people to work. People work, we have high employment. High employment will generate income. And what people do with income? They buy stuff. Then we have business and trade sales. We measure that. Manufacturing sales, wholesales, trade sales, business to business, business to consumers. This is business and trade sales. Current sales figures exactly measure how much business and consumers are buying now. We want to have high activities. We don't want the inventory to sit in the warehouse. We want the inventory to turn over. And how do inventory turn over? When the consumer, when the people who are working in those manufacturing facilities earn their paychecks, they are going to go back and spend it in the economy. Therefore, we have business and trade sales. So rising sales indicate stronger current demand. Falling sales suggest current weakness. So that's another indicator. An example will be an increase in manufacturing and wholesale sales proves that business are currently experiencing stronger activity. Now, everything that I said, the opposite of it is true. What does it mean the opposite of it is true? If industrial production is down, if businesses don't need people to work, we have high unemployment, which is employment is down. Then we have lower personal income. If we have lower personal income, we have lower economic activity in terms of business and trade sales. Then what we have to measure also is real economic input. Real compared to what? Real compared to the inflation, relative to the inflation. So when we measure the output, when we measure GDP, gross domestic product, we have to look at the real GDP. So real output measures current production after mathematically removing the effect of inflation. So if last year the total GDP was $100 and this year the total GDP is 110, but we experience a 10% inflation, we really don't have a 10% increase in GDP. It just we are at the same level because the inflation ate up that $10, that extra $10. So real GDP is the broadest measure of goods and services produced in the economy. And the GDP tells you what's happening right now. But we have to measure it in real output. We have to factor out inflation. So a true increase indicates expansion. A decrease indicates contraction. So if inflation adjusted output rises during a quarter, the economy has objectively produced more goods and services than in prior quarter, and this is a coincident indicator. Now again, I told you I'll go back and show you how these factors affect each other. We'll start with industrial production, which will generate employment, which will generate business income, which will generate more business, sales and trades, which will generate real output. They all work together. And the same thing is true when we don't have a lot of industrial production. When this goes down, the economy will slow down. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. During an economic review, the chief financial officer of Harbor Retail notes that employment, real personal income, and business sales are increasing. That's good. At the same time, new residential construction permits are declining. All right. Which interpretation is the most accurate? So we are giving this scenario, and they're asking us, we have 4 different answers. Which scenario most describe what we are seeing? And what are we seeing here? We are seeing good, strong, coincident economic indicator. Employment is good, real personal income is good, and business sales is good, all increasing. But residential construction permit are declining. What's residential construction permit? Those are leading indicator. They're telling us something about the future. Okay, A, the economy is currently contracting because building permits have declined. Well, just because building permits decline, we cannot go to the conclusion and saying that we are going through a contraction yet. We can't say that. The economy will necessarily enter a recession because one leading indicator has declined. We can't go that far. Just because building permit is going down, it doesn't mean we're going to enter into a recession. That's a broad statement. The economy is currently expanding, but a leading indicator suggests possible future weakness. I would say that's the most reasonable statement. Right now, the economy is expanding. How do we know this? Employment, real personal income, and business sales are all going up currently. But also, when we look into the future, we see that business permit are declining relative to last year or relative to a prior period. When we say declining, it means they're declining relative to some sort of a base. So what we're seeing that in the future, it looks like people are starting to be more careful in their spending habits. Let's say C is the best answer. Let's look at D. The current economy cannot be evaluated because leading and coincident indicators must always move together. No, they don't must always move together. They don't. Sometimes they move in opposite directions. Sometimes they move together. But you cannot look at one or two. You have to look at the full picture. So that statement goes too far. The correct statement is C. Now, what can you do? If you're answering this question on Farhat, you could use the AI to explain the topic, explain the correct and incorrect answer, create a similar MCQ. Whether you are CPA exam candidate, accounting student, studying for a professional certification, the best investment you can make is invest in yourself, invest in your career. God bless and stay safe.